Hey everyone, this is Jason Kirby, founder and managing director of thunder.vc, and this video is for our Newchip members that have recently joined our network after Newchip's unfortunate demise. And I want to be able to walk you through how to best leverage the premium access that we've given to you for free and how to access the data, look at the data, the matches that we provide, how it all works. But most importantly, I want to end it on the strategy of how best to get in contact with the investors that we suggest based on our AI. So make sure to stay tuned for the entire video. I know it'll be a little long, but it'll be worth it. And this way you'll know exactly how to best leverage the data that we supplied you. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So what you see here is our demo profile. This is going to walk you through exactly what you need to know and what you need to provide to our network. So first and foremost, a lot of this information will be already provided if you went through the sign-up flow. But as you go through it, you want to make sure you populate all these details. One important thing is location. If you have a company headquarters, make sure to use that. If you're a distributed remote team, kind of choose where the CEO is or the founder is. Or if you're international but have a Delaware C Corp, put that you're in the US. You can just put United States if you are remote, or you can put the specific city that you're located. If you are international and you are registered internationally, then just put the country that you are located in. So that's pretty straightforward. Second, when it comes to your pitch materials, you can upload a pitch deck here. Make sure to give it a title. So your pitch deck from Q4 or Q2 or whatever it might be. You can also put a URL. So you can put like a DocSend or a Google Drive link, whatever you have. We do suggest just uploading a PDF. It just makes it a smoother, simpler experience. But if you're keeping track of everything in a DocSend, that's fine too. If you need to edit or change what you put here, you can just go to data room and you'll be able to delete what you uploaded or edit it. Moving forward, you'll definitely need to fill out your company overview. This is super critical for being able to communicate to VCs as well as to complete your profile, because otherwise this section right here won't be checked and you won't be able to submit your profile for review. Next, most of this should already be filled out. We just want you to really deeply consider what you're putting in here. Live with customers means you're actually making money. This is a live product you're actually selling. Idea stage, obviously means you're just at idea stage and you're just kind of getting out there. So really make sure you think this through. Growth mode should only be reserved for companies that are established, that have hit over $1 million, $2 million, or a couple million in revenue. And then business model is pretty straightforward. Choose what's most relevant to you. Same revenue models. And then sectors. A primary sector is where you want to best define yourself as far as a category to fit into. You can search. You can be like health tech. There's a bunch of different things. There's a lot more than just searching and browsing through here. This is very limited. This is like our top categories. But you can also search in subcategories and so on. So you want to put the best category that best represents you here. And then you have 3 supporting categories that you think might best represent you. Additional tags, this only applies to founders, not executives or advisors or whatever. So if any of the founders fit this criteria, ideally founders with more than 10% of the company, check these boxes here. All right, moving on to the team tab. You should have your own data here. If you need to change it, you can edit it here, or you can also edit it up in your My Profile section, either way. You can also add your other co-founders. Now, only add co-founders. We do not want to see your advisors, board members, investors. This is meant only to be for the founders. So go ahead and populate all this information here on their behalf. Funding. This is very important. You want to add all your previously closed rounds. So if you raised capital before there, whether that was friends and family, an accelerator, a pre-seed, whatever it might be. Basically put in all the different rounds that you've raised historically. This is crucial for our algorithm to best define, who would be a good fit for you. Then once you've added those closed rounds, you want to add what you're actively raising. So this will be, say your seed round, Series A, pre-seed, whatever it is, how much you're seeking to raise. So 1 to 2.5. So if you're trying to raise 1.5 million, choose this. If you're trying to raise 3 million, go ahead and choose this, and so on. Put what you have raised to date. Now, what this means is cash in the bank or signed safe notes or term sheets that have been signed and executed, and cash is pending, but hard commits only. Do not put you talked to someone for 5 minutes and they said they would commit $500,000. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for factual data that's real, that properly represents your current status. If you have a lead investor, great, put that in there. If you don't, put no. Changes who we match you with. Valuation, if you have a valuation, put it in there. If you have a target valuation, kind of put it in there. It gives us an idea. And whether it's pre or post, if you don't know what that means, you can Google it. But pre-money is a $10 million pre-money and you're raising $2 million. Your post-money would be $12 million. So close date, what you're trying to realistically close the round at, and that means actual money in the bank, legal over, not when you hope to get a term sheet. Moving on. Traction, a lot of people get hung up here, especially pre-seed, early stage companies. It's easier than you think. If you feel you don't have any data that fits any of these criteria, so ARR, annual recurring revenue, monthly recurring revenue, revenue as a whole. So if you're more not like a SaaS model where it's recurring, you'll choose revenue. If it's recurring, choose either one of these. User growth, so if you're more like a social app or you're in beta or something like that, you want to highlight your wait list. You can put user growth, and then headcount. If you're more deep tech and you're scaling your talent and bringing on top talent, you put headcount. If you feel you don't meet any of these criteria, go ahead and hit skip, and you're allowed to move on. If you have meet this criteria, make sure to do monthly like you see here. So like September, October, put it in sequential order, and it will auto-populate a chart for you on the right. And then from here, providing trailing 12-month revenue. So put in your historical revenue for the last 12 months up until, let's say, April. You had 500K from 12 months prior to April. That's what you put there. Burn rate, pretty straightforward. How much money are you burning in the last month? So in April you burn whatever, 50 grand. And then you hit save on all of these. And then you also have months of runway. So from this point forward, so as of May, you have 6 months of runway. That's what you would put. Okay. Now the intent is once you've uploaded this information, you want to be able to come back every month and update it with the newest information for the previous month. It helps train our algorithm and kind of shows momentum across the profile and shows your activity. It helps improve your match results. Data room, this one, keep it simple. You can add an executive summary here. Just try to keep it brief and simple with some bullets. You can also just add your pitch deck here and any pitch materials that put you in a good light. You do not need to provide all your financials, legal, and intellectual property at this point. It's too early for that. Don't worry. And then once you've done all that, you can come in here, refresh the page, and you'll see how many matches you have based on the data that you supplied to this point. And what we're showing here is basically, you have a good, people that have a good amount of matches based on the scores that they have. So the higher the scores, usually the fewer matches. And what that really means is that we were very clear on quality of matches. So it's hard to get a high score in our ecosystem, meaning that we're only pushing quality to VCs. So pretty much anything after this point is where matches actually matter. Everything back here is basically noise and will not be published to VCs. It's just kind of how our system works. And then the company score here. So, 1 to 1.5 is, where I'm falling in here. And that's on the good side. So the further you go out here, the higher the score, the more likely you are to raise capital successfully, not just in our network, but as a whole. Now, if you're on the negative side, that means you're probably not ready for venture capital, or your business isn't really a venture backable business. So not always the news you want to hear, but that's kind of how our algorithm works. If you object against it, you're welcome to email me, and we can get back to you and tell you our decision and how that works. All right, so now once you've completed this profile, you'll hit submit for review. Our team will manually review every single profile that comes across, and we will get back to you with basically the status of your profile once if we approve it and we publish you, and you are a Newchip member, we will go ahead and unlock your premium access for free. And what that looks like is this page here. So this is where we actually show you all the data on all your matches and give you a bunch of options to play with. So first and foremost, you have the filters on the left. If you want to kind of narrow your results, if you're on the fortunate side and have lots of matches, it's more common. The average is around 10 to 30 matches on average. So if you're above that, great. If you're below that, again, probably will struggle to raise venture capital. We prioritize venture firms only, and that's what you'll see here. So as you scroll through, you'll see you can click on any of these profiles, get to know the firm a little bit more. You can look up the team members. You can find them on LinkedIn. and so on. So this is pretty intuitive, and you can also look at their historical portfolio companies, what investments they made over the years, and how frequently they're making investments. So this is all pretty important information to dive into and understand and learn about these firms. So I want to walk you through now, how do you use this data? So it's one thing, okay, cool, got all these matches. You have the scores. So the scores basically imply how likely you are of a good match with that firm. So these are all the variables that we calculate on. So the more bars and the further they are, the higher the quality of the match on those fronts. It might be the points that you want to highlight. Company score will usually be the highest because that's, if you're a good company, you're going to be more appealing to more VCs. So how you use this, as you scroll through and you see this data and you see VCs that you like, you can open them up, you can look at their data. And if you want to save them for later or be able to reach out to them, what we recommend is to use this little thumbs up icon here, or you can add any notes of what you want to consider when you reach out. And you want to do that through the whole list. You want to go through and basically cull through the list, make sure you feel all of them are a good fit. Our algorithm, we take a lot of pride in it, but it's not perfect. Some firms have very specific requirements that our algorithm can't really take into consideration at scale yet. So you want to make sure that you kind of skim through the list and make sure you agree that based on the information we provide and the qualitative data aligns with the quantitative data. And if so, keep them in the list, mark them as a check here. If you disagree, you can go ahead and just say not a fit, remove them from this list here. They'll go into archive in case you want to reference them later. Okay, and as once you've done all that, you have a couple options. We'll walk through the strategy, but first and foremost, you probably want to download your matches. This will give you all the data on these VCs. It'll give you their email, email, name of the partner, the details of the firm, and you can import that into your own CRM and work from there. Or you can work off an Excel sheet, however you want to work. Or you can use our mini CRM here if you choose. Now, from here, let's talk strategy. How are you going to get these people to respond? We are not a magic bullet. If you go in here and you hit request intro, that does not guarantee that they're going to be like, oh, came through Thunder, we got to give these guys a call and write them a check. That's not how venture capital works. Everything comes down to building a relationship. We are just providing you on who it's worth building a relationship with. And that's what makes us special and why our data is valuable, is because a lot of founders will spend time chasing the wrong investors and knowing that you think they're going to write you a check, but in reality, they never had the ability nor interest to write you a check in the first place. So our data helps identify of the investors out there, these are the ones that are more likely to write you a check. And that's why it's important to look up these people, see how you might know them, and really work towards a warm introduction. For our premium access, this is all do-it-yourself. We do not make warm introductions on your behalf. We don't know who you are. We haven't done due diligence on you. We can't necessarily just open you up to my personal connections or our team's personal connections unless we bring you on as a full client, which is we only take a month. So moving on, how to get warm intros. So the strategy will be, once you've identified, like let's say Primary Ventures, you're a New York-based, company. That's what these primary invest in. You would go in here, you would look them up on LinkedIn. You can look up the team. We can go into here and click on, Brad here. You can see like, okay, it's pretty popular. I got 34 mutual connections. I probably know someone in here that can give me a warm intro, like Joe. I used to work with Joe. He would easily give me a warm introduction to Brad at Primary VC. So I can then reach out to Joe to tell him what I'm doing if he's not already aware, build a rapport with Joe, make sure he has my trust and that what I'm doing is interesting, and then ask him for that intro to the VC. The next best bet, if you don't personally know a direct connection to this VC, you can look at their portfolio. Now, we don't have a full 100% coverage in our data set of every single portco. We're working towards that, but it's not perfect. So you can look at who these companies are, and maybe you recognize one of them, maybe you know one of the founders or have a way to get to know them. So what you can do is you can look up these companies, and you can also just click on them right here on our website. You get a little bit of information about them. We're working towards adding some of the founders that are coming in, trickling in to give you more information. But worst case scenario, you can look them up on the website. You can look them up on LinkedIn and try to find if you know one of the founders or have an intro to the founder, because the best possible intro you can get to a VC is one of their board co-founders. And I know this sounds like a lot of work, and well, it is, and it's intended to be, because it's all about building a relationship with the VCs, and they want to see you work for that relationship. Now, some VCs are very open to cold inbound, and they review and take every cold email seriously, but that's about 5% of the market. The rest of them only like to do deals with people that they know, that come from their network, and have built a relationship with over time. So if you're thinking that you're going to come in, use Thunder's data to basically span this entire list in a day and think you're going to get money, probably not going to happen. The best strategy is to go through and find ways to identify an opportunity to build a relationship with these VCs, find a trusted source into them, and start the relationship and share updates with them on your business, what you're doing, before you come in and ask hard for money. Now, if you're in a dire situation, you need money tomorrow, then you didn't really set yourself up for success in fundraising. But, hey, founder life is never easy. So in that particular situation, if you've exhausted this entire list from warm introductions already, or you don't have any warm introduction possibility, what we then recommend, like I said, download the list and then follow the strategy of drafting personal cold emails to each and every contact. Again, that's why you want to make sure you have a narrow list, and that's why we have Thunder. Most of you will not have 300 matches. Most of you 10 to 50 matches, so it's very attainable. And you'll want to draft personalized emails that grab their attention. You'll have their emails to send them an email. The next step you want to do after you send them a personal email is then you'll want to look them up on LinkedIn, hit them up on LinkedIn, and then you'll come into Thunder and you can also request an intro. So this gives you 3 different channels to start a conversation. And you want each and every single one of these messages to be unique and personalized to them. Now you can kind of copy and paste like your traction or what makes you special, but you kind of want to put a little bit of effort personalizing the message to them. They want to see that you put just an ounce of effort to them and you didn't just mass email them. When you mass email with no personalization, it's almost a guaranteed no response. Unless you have amazing traction and you're exploding and you're so hot right now, which most of the time is not the case, you're unlikely to have successful results in just blanket cold standard email. You got to put a little effort into it. You got to really try to work towards a relationship, build trust, and that's what leads to successful fundraising. So after you send a request through Thunder, which you can draft like a brief 500 character message here, you'll be able to see what an email will go out to them with all your information. I'll show you that now. So when you send out that request intro, this is what a VC will see. They'll get a personalized, header introducing them to the company. It comes from Thunder, so there's a little bit of credibility for the VCs that are familiar with Thunder and understand the match algorithm. We also send them some additional information in case they want to learn more. This is where your message goes, here. So that's why the personal message is super important, because it's right there. Then there's just a link straight to your pitch deck, and then you have your company details that can help start the conversation, as well as your direct email, so they might reach out to you directly. But effectively, if they hit accept, you're immediately connected over email, and you'll be notified via email, and you can just reply all to that person, and you'll be connected to them. If they reject, it'll be reflected in your profile. So that's what they see after you send the message. And like I said, if they accept or reject, you will see that status get updated here. So if they reject, it'll go to archive. If they accept, you'll be notified and say match accepted, and then you can keep track of the progress from there. So that's how you use Thunder. That's the strategy we recommend. At the end of the day, fundraising is about building relationships, and that is the most important part when it comes to building your business and going out and raising venture capital. It is a long journey. It's very rare for companies to just magically raise millions of dollars on a cold email. It takes time, it takes effort, but we're hopefully helping you streamline on who you should focus on. That will increase the odds of you closing a round. We pull in data from 5,000 different VCs that pretty much encompasses the majority of the venture capital market. So you're getting some good coverage, and you won't have to use any other tools to try to architect a list of VCs to hit. So I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me either in the chat box on the website or reach out to us at help@thunder.vc, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. For those that are new to Thunder, welcome, and we wish you the best of luck in your fundraise and building your business, and look forward to seeing you inside the network.